Nature is big, brave, and beautiful. These are some of the best animal moments captured this year. This lion is so pleased to see this kind face from the past that for a moment, he forgets how to walk. Tears were shed when Limbani was reunited with his foster parents, probably because he was hugging all the moisture out of them. This German Shepherd almost goes into combat mode before realizing this soldier is their beloved owner from when they were a pup.
It's Bailey! Look, it's Bailey! Yeah!
Watch how these elephants at this elephant nature park come running to this guy when he calls them, and they really are running, not charging. After months apart from his owner, this dog makes a very odd series of sounds. Hear that? That's the sound of happiness. We usually associate kangaroos with bouncing, not hugging, but that's all this little guy wants to do when he sees his owner.
Wanna take some hugs to go?
How many of you would risk your life to save a drowning animal? This man didn't waste a second thinking about it. He just jumped into the river and tried his best to save the drowning calf, which he did after a bit of struggle. A camel was laying in the middle of the road, and this man knew exactly what to do. He gave the camel water, which was exactly what the poor animal needed. A man threw a stick into the water, and one of the dogs, being the good boy that he is, tried his best to retrieve it, and he almost drowned because of it. Thankfully, his owner noticed it immediately and saved his dog in the nick of time. One man left his 6 dogs behind in flooded locked cages after a hurricane. Fortunately for the dogs, one man noticed them and he immediately jumped into the rescue and freed them all without hesitation.
Come on, puppy. It's okay. Come on.
This poor sheep named Victoria lived for years in the Australian bush, with 57 pounds of wool covering her body. A team of rescuers finally got a hold of her and brought her to the sanctuary where they sheared her, thus allowing her to have a normal life. This dog was in the mood for a little electric eel. The results were shocking. In an unlikely matchup, this curious tiger disturbed a sleeping bear, and the face-off was surprising. Monkey see, monkey do. Even this was better than the final season of Game of Thrones. The Iranian spider-tailed viper uses its tail to catch bigger prey. Only in Florida will you see a raccoon attacking an iguana. The old tail drop trick won't work this time.
Should I stop the fight? Yo! Let him go, dog! I know, lead a tail.
If you had to bet who'd win in a fight between a harmless kitty cat and a wild, vicious coyote, who'd you put your money on? The problem with Winnie the Pooh climbing trees to get honey is that young viewers at home might try to copy it. This pigeon got caught in a piece of string attached to a power line, so they had to send a mechanical pigeon to sort it out, or drone as they're otherwise known. After rescue workers heard the sound of crying, they found a baby sloth who'd fallen out of a tree. After 2 hours, mother and baby were finally reunited. These animal aid workers found this poor mother wailing for her wounded puppy. They took her away, gave her love and attention, and the reunion was the sweetest thing you'll ever see. This poor dog got himself stuck in a hole, but the guys from Animal Aid Unlimited were there to help. After being caught on a fisherman's hook, this giant stingray became the subject of one of the most unique rescue missions on our list. A dog in Thailand got stuck in molten rubber, unable to move, with only his mouth poking out for air. Luckily for him, some people noticed him and called the emergency services, who commandeered an excavator to dig the pooch out of the rubber. This dog right here got stuck in some barbed wire. He then tried to rescue himself, but he only made things worse. Luckily, some people found him and carefully cut the wire. How devastating is this? The dog got stuck between a fence and a wall and was crying for help. Thankfully, some people heard his helpless cries and carefully helped him get out of a tough situation. I don't know what happened to this cat, but it fell unconscious and would have gone into cat heaven if it wasn't for the kind rescuer who performed a successful reanimation. Cats, even more than dogs, often find themselves in the most unusual of circumstances. Take a look at this cat. How it ended up there, no one knows. But the important thing is that someone noticed the poor animal and rescued it with the help of a rope. This dog was so excited to see his soldier dad come home that he even wore a huge red bow to make himself look nice. This cute little dog saw this cow as his mother, and when the owners decided to sell her, he was distraught. He stopped eating, he stopped drinking, until they were forced to bring his cow mom back again, which led to this heart-melting reunion. After 14 months, these big-eared guys were reunited with their caretaker, and all they wanted was an elephant group hug. This is our second clip of Limbani the chimp meeting up with his foster parents. He's a bit bigger, but he still hasn't forgotten all the love they showed him. When there was a dispute over who was the owner of this dog, Judge Judy decided to let the dog decide.
Listen to me carefully. Put the dog down. Put the dog down.
And it took him about 1.5 seconds.
That's all. Take the dog home.
Little birds like this one sometimes get blown offshore. So the crew of this boat brought him on board, gave him food and warmth, and dropped him back home again.
See you later, buddy.
The last thing you need during a hurricane is air conditioning, but this cat found itself stuck on an AC unit until this man came to its rescue. When a horse gets stuck in a swamp, they're in serious danger of dying of starvation. Thank God people like this are there to help them. How did this dog get stuck on the ledge? We don't know, but unlike a pirate, he was more than happy to walk the plank. This little fawn was doing its best to hide, but decided to choose the worst place ever to do it, the middle of the road. These kind people from wildlife control removed these baby foxes from underneath a porch, and their mother was a bit confused to see where they'd ended up. This hungry shark took some bait that wasn't meant for it, and ended up panicking, choking, and nearly drowning, until his savior turned up. If you don't believe cat parkour is a thing, watch this video. This chicken will do anything to protect her hens, even taking on a king cobra. Kangaroos will head for water when threatened, but they can still hold their own against angry cattle dogs. You might call him bird-brained, but he was able to scare off 2 hungry tigers. Dropped in the middle of a crocodile pen, this chicken never stood a chance. Jaguars are so badass that even caiman are on the menu. It's not just cats and dogs who get stuck in unusual places. This bear somehow ended up on the utility pole. I don't know what this man did. Whatever it was, allowed the bear to successfully climb down the pole. When this goat got stuck in a wheel, people didn't waste a second in trying to help the animal, which they eventually did after carefully removing the wheel. One look at this man giving water to a squirrel directly from the bottle is enough to warm your heart. You can just see the gratitude in the animal's eyes. A cat desperately needed a helping hand to get out of a tough situation, and one man immediately answered its call. With the help of a rope, the cat was safe in no time. At first, it seemed that this deer's antlers got stuck in a tree, but once the camera zoomed in, you realize the poor thing is stuck in some old chicken wire fence. Luckily for the deer, the Good Samaritan cut the fence and set it free. A sea turtle got stuck on the beach, and it was just laying there on its back, and it would have stayed that way for a really long time if it wasn't for this kind man who helped turn it around with the help of his friend. How this giraffe ended up with a tire around its neck, no one knows. But the important thing is that this group of people managed to remove the tire and save the animal. When a wild horse got its leg stuck in a fence, this group of compassionate humans were fortunately able to help it. When animal rescue workers put their own safety second and a stray dog's life first. When a fox asked these fishermen if they had anything to spare, they were only too happy to help. We've all felt like this turtle after a few drinks. Luckily, these concerned passers-by were there to turn him the right way up.
Yes! Woo, see you, buddy!
This man jumped into a canal to save this fox cub from drowning. And how cute is he? The fox, by the way, not the man. Here's a baby eagle being fed with a mother eagle hand puppet to prepare it for the wild, or a career in children's TV, whichever one it chooses. This dog had been missing for about 2.5 weeks. His best friend had given up hope on ever seeing him again, until his mom met him at school with a very special surprise. This guy runs a lion sanctuary, and just look at this homecoming celebration after he'd been away for only 2 weeks. The big guy's name is Emmett Thunderpaws. He completely forgot how big he is when his military dad arrived home.
Oh. He's very excited.
How you doing?
I think he remembers you.
How you doing?
If you need a definition of the word overwhelmed, then just listen to this little dog's reaction to seeing his mom again. He's so happy he needs to lie down. And, by the way, he was absolutely fine.
You okay, by the way?
Here's our third clip of the warm-hearted chimp Limbani. Much older now, but time can't erase the love he has for these people. If you ever needed proof of how much dogs mean to their owners, look at this guy's reaction after being reunited with his beloved pooch after a tornado.
I didn't know. Just glad he's okay.
When this dog was stolen along with the owner's car, he never thought he'd see his best friend again. Luckily, he was completely wrong. These people were enjoying a sunny day on their boat when they noticed a bear swimming beside them with a plastic jar stuck on its head. They immediately jumped to the rescue and saved the animal in no time.
Yes! Gotcha.
Yes, go.
We saved our little bear!
Good job, buddy.
A few good men spotted a stray dog who had fallen into a canal and couldn't get out. So, what do? Well, they joined their forces, of course, and grabbed each other's hands. After a while, the dog was back to safety. This elephant named Pretty Boy approached the doctors as if to ask for help. The experienced doctors noticed the hole in its forehead, so they tranquilized the animal, and the x-ray confirmed it was a bullet in Pretty Boy's skull. Doctors then successfully removed the bullet. These two foxes were running in circles hoping to somehow find the way out of this abandoned pool. Luckily, one man noticed them, jump inside the pool, and got one out. The other one was a little more hesitant. This goose, named Victoria, lost its beak, and the poor thing couldn't even eat. But thankfully, 45 days later, she was able to get the new one, and it's all thanks to the 3D printed prosthetic designed by some Brazilian researchers.
Got her. I got ya. Yeah. Watch out for mom. Hey, buddy. It's okay. I don't see any injuries. See you later, buddy.
This poor baby elephant got hit by a truck and couldn't get up as a result. It took about 20 people in order to even try and move the poor thing. They eventually did after a lot of struggle. How many of you would be brave enough to help a shark with your bare hands? Well, these two men didn't quit till they managed to return the blue shark to the water after it got stranded at the beach in New Zealand. A dog got hit by a car in India, and as a result, was left out in the middle of the road with his legs strangely stretched out in front of him. Turns out he had suffered nerve damage, but the rescue team gave their best to help the poor animal get back on its feet. A raccoon tried to break into the attic through the roof, but instead got stuck in a hole with its hind legs poking out. Thankfully, a man noticed it and helped the raccoon get out of a tough situation.
Slow.
No, this guy isn't jumping in the water with his clothes on just for the fun of it. He's on a very important mission, saving a cat from a possible drowning. After a bit of swimming, he finally got to the cat, picked it up, and brought it back to safety like the true hero he is. Dogs always give you a warm welcome, but look how happy this furry guy is to see his dad after 6 months away.
Oh my gosh. Oh my. Oh. All right. Uh-huh. Come here. Hi, you. Yeah. Did you miss Daddy?
After losing his dog for 2 days after being chased by another dog, this emotionally overwhelmed dad found her trapped in a foxhole.
She's going nowhere now, mate. Oh, no.
This lady spent a lot of time socializing these wolves, and just look how they react to the return of their mom after 2 months away. When this young man returned home after his 2-year Mormon mission, his dog took no notice of his nice clean suit and got paw prints and doggy saliva all over him. This fox is named Dawn and had to be looked after for so long after an injury that she can no longer be released into the wild. But look how happy she is at her new home in this wildlife sanctuary. Cats aren't well known for being overly affectionate, but this is a big cat, and look how affectionate he is to this guy. A giraffe got caught in a wired fence and was just laying on the ground motionless. One guy noticed the poor thing and cut the fence, which was supposed to free the animal, but the giraffe still wouldn't move. Then, the guy and his friend poked it with sticks, which did the trick.
He's alive. He's going. We just saved him. Yes!
This adorable little koala got thirsty, so it came by the pool hoping to get some water. A woman noticed and decided to help. The result, the incredible sight of the koala drinking water out of the woman's palm. A huge orca got stranded on a beach in Argentina, so it took the whole group of people working together in order to push the orca back to where it belongs. And finally, they made it. This cow right here somehow found herself in a pit filled with water, and then the rescuers came in and helped her get out with a rope. A huge python coiled itself around a poor deer and just couldn't let go of it. Luckily for the deer, one man was around and he wasn't afraid to get involved. He took a tree branch and poked the python a few times until eventually the snake let go of the deer. This poor squirrel had been swimming for quite some time, hoping to get out of the pool, but to no avail. And then a kind stranger came with a stick which he used to help the squirrel finally get out.
You take a second and rest, and then get yourself back up.
He might only be a 20-pound French bulldog, but inside he has the heart of a lion. Ever heard of the saying, rules the roost? Well, this rooster certainly does that, protecting the hen house from a hungry hawk. When a mongoose approaches a cobra, it's all about timing and eventually tiring your opponent out.
But when the mongoose attacks, he doesn't miss. Snake will be on the menu tonight.
There's a reason small animals evolved a hard shell over millions of years. It makes them almost impervious to the curiousness of much bigger creatures. This buffalo has never heard of the law of the jungle and tells a lioness he means business. Normally a fearsome jungle creature, even gorillas are scared of geese. Sometimes you have to be put in your place, like when this rhino started annoying a giraffe. Even when you think all hope is lost, think of this frog. Despite the odds, never gave up. This monkey thought the top of a tree was safe from a hungry tiger. He was right. 5-on-1 is hardly a fair fight, but this iguana still comes out on top. This gopher has obviously been taking boxing lessons, because he's able to square up against 3 barking dogs. Are you tired of dogs welcoming their owners yet? How about this huge lizard? He's even smiling.
Come on, buddy. You glad I'm home? Are ya? Are ya? Good. Are you hungry?
This lion was rescued from a circus in Colombia where he was mistreated and abused. And look how much he loves the lady who saved him. Don't think a man can have a bond with a rabbit? Well, take a look at this rabbit's reaction as his owner returns from a long trip. This soldier was worried that her puppy wouldn't remember her when she got back from deployment in Africa. How wrong was she? If a lioness jumps like this at most people, then it's never going to end well. This leap, however, was purely from excitement. This keep is so incredibly happy to see his dog, he weeps. Tears of joy, of course. This is Jimbo and Jim from an orphaned wildlife center, just cuddling up for a nice relaxing nap. Camels may be the ships of the desert, but occasionally they give good hugs too. And now we have a goose who's so delighted to see his friend that he makes a noise even louder than a regular goose noise. And that's saying something. After 3 weeks abroad, this horse does a dainty but exciting trot towards her owner. This woman in Ukraine was reunited with her dog after 2 years, and just look at his reaction when she finds him in a shelter. Another soldier getting the warmest welcome home possible from his furry buddy.
Zeus, who is that?
When a wild horse got its leg stuck in a fence, this group of compassionate humans were fortunately able to help it. When animal rescue workers put their own safety second and a stray dog's life first. When a fox asked these fishermen if they had anything to spare, they were only too happy to help. We've all felt like this turtle after a few drinks. Luckily, these concerned passersby were there to turn him the right way up.
Yes! Woo, see you, buddy!
This man jumped into a canal to save this fox cub from drowning. And how cute is he? The fox, by the way, not the man. Here's a baby eagle being fed with a mother eagle hand puppet to prepare it for the wild, or a career in children's TV, whichever one it chooses. This turtle got trapped on its way to the sea until this kind man decided to help it out. This praying mantis must have said an extra prayer of thanks after receiving this much-needed drink. Everyone gets thirsty in the desert, even camels. Luckily for this baby elephant, a helpful girl was there to help remove its feet from the mud. If you're going to release a calf from a tree with an axe, then you'd better be pretty precise with that axe. Fortunately, this guy was. This great white shark beached itself while trying to catch seagulls, and the local people stepped up to help. When this fox wedged itself in a tree, wildlife aid were there to help, although she clearly wasn't that happy about it. People were scared of removing this snake from the middle of a busy road, until this guy recognized that it was a harmless black rat snake. We know that cats have 9 lives, but if you keep getting your head stuck in metal pots, then you'll go through them pretty quickly. It's not often you see a kangaroo on a kayak, but after this particular kangaroo fell into a canal, he was more than happy to see it. This wounded and frozen puppy was discovered tied to a pole by the side of a road and was reassured by the words of his rescuer.
You is happier now, huh? Yeah. See? I told you the Jeep would be warm.
Another fox asks another group of fishermen for a spare fish or two, and they gladly comply. If you're gonna find trapped cattle, then a cattle grid is a pretty likely place. Luckily, this little guy was rescued pretty soon. A giraffe got caught in a wired fence and was just laying on the ground motionless. One guy noticed the poor thing and cut the fence, which was supposed to free the animal, but the giraffe still wouldn't move. Then, the guy and his friend poked it with sticks, which did the trick.
He's alive, he's going. We just saved him! Yes!
This adorable little koala got thirsty, so it came by the pool hoping to get some water. A woman noticed and decided to help. The result, the incredible sight of the koala drinking water out of the woman's palm. A huge orca got stranded on a beach in Argentina, so it took the whole group of people working together in order to push the orca back to where it belongs. And finally, they made it. This cow right here somehow found herself in a pit filled with water, and then the rescuers came in and helped her get out with a rope. A huge python coiled itself around a poor deer and just couldn't let go of it. Luckily for the deer, one man was around and he wasn't afraid to get involved. He took a tree branch and poked the python a few times until eventually the snake let go of the deer. This poor squirrel had been swimming for quite some time, hoping to get out of the pool, but to no avail. And then a kind stranger came with a stick which he used to help the squirrel finally get out.
You take a second and rest, and then get yourself back up.
This dog fell into the LA River and just couldn't find its way out of it. When one man saw this, he just jumped into the raging river trying to save the dog, but the poor animal was just too scared and actually bit the man. The rescuers then pulled both the man and the dog out of the river.
Wow.
Oh, what a sight there.
Wow.
That's the shot right there. See, they did a rope there.
This poor little deer somehow ended up with snow on its face and would have certainly suffocated if it wasn't for the passersby who carefully removed the snow from the deer's face, saving its life in the process. Maybe he's brave, maybe he's not all there, but this dog takes on 2 lions. When a caiman chomps down on an electric eel, the results are clearly shocking.
Jacaré sendo eletrocutado, jacaré sendo eletrocutado.
Ô, corre aqui! Rápido!
This pit bull is all bark, no brains.
Jesus Christ, Richard!
Those bars have made one kitty cat awfully brave, but who's the real scaredy cat? Proof that the mongoose is a literal psychopath. This snappy rodent takes on 3 lions.
With his snake hunter's agility and a stream of mongoose expletives, the shoe is on the other foot, which is exactly where he targets his attack. Never underestimate the power of one crazy ankle biter.
It would be wise of you not to mess with this parrot, Spike. This poor monkey got its head stuck in the bars. His mom took quite a while to realize he was being rescued. Watch how everyone comes together to save this frightened feline after it somehow managed to get its head stuck in this gate. Look how happy this duck was to see her babies rescued from a storm drain. Quacks of joy all around. When a bird asks for help getting down from a tree, then you know something's wrong. It's a good job this guy spotted this kitten hiding in the back of his garbage truck. Otherwise, it could have been recycled.
There's another one. Oh, Jesus Christ. There's another one.
After being mutilated during an attack, this toucan was given a new life by a prosthetic beak. Look how grateful this thirsty koala is when a friendly human offers him some water during a heat wave.
Boy.
This dramatic footage shows dogs being rescued from a house fire.
Come here. Come here. Oh, all right.
It's especially heartwarming when many people work together to save one dog, and this little guy would have drowned without them. This frozen dog was trapped in the Detroit River until the local fire service saved his life.
5-6 rating, checked out.
Eventually, if you get too nosy, you'll get what's coming to you. There's a reason ducks are called ducks. How do you think they escaped from 4 hungry tigers? Drinking in Africa is deadly business. You need lightning reflexes to survive. Ever tried to bite into a nut and hurt your teeth instead? They say foxes are sly, but there's no going past a hawk looking after her eggs. This bear fancied a bit of bacon for lunch, but the pig had other ideas. Oh look, Another big scary bear outmatched by something much smaller. When two masters of tree climbing come to blows, who'll come out on top? This anaconda don't want none. I'm out of here, son.
He's huge.
This dog protected his family from a hungry cheetah. As a result of a wildfire in Australia, this poor kangaroo got its hands burned. But then, this kind woman approached it and poured some water on it to make it easier for the animal. What a heart-melting moment. A baby elephant fell into the ditch in Kerala, India, and couldn't get out for hours. Then the rescuers came to save it with an earth mover. After the successful mission, you can see an elephant herd saluting the rescue workers before leaving. This cow named Rainbow was in such a bad condition, she couldn't even get up, let alone walk. But then, a team of rescuers found her and nursed her back to health. This poor dog fell into the icy pond and was having a hard time staying afloat. But then, this woman rushed to its rescue and pulled the poor dog out of the icy water. A baby elephant was stuck in a mud pit for 2 whole days until the rescuers came in. After a lot of struggle, they finally managed to save the animal.
Wow.
The poor little black puppy got stuck in some rock-solid tar, so when the rescuers finally heard its cries, they had to break the tar from the ground in order to save it. This dog right here fell into a mud pit. He certainly wouldn't have made it if it wasn't for some good Samaritans who came into the pit in order to bring the dog to safety. When this guy saw a seagull stranded at a beach, he didn't waste a second in trying to help it out. Once he came closer, he realized that the seagull was trapped in a fishing line. So he carefully cut the fishing line and released the traumatized bird.
Hey! Oh. Look, he's off! Yes!
This sloth was desperately trying to cross the road, but it was too weak to do so. So the passersby picked it up with a blanket and placed it onto a tree, where the little sloth felt right at home. Some people were enjoying their time on a boat when they spotted a macaque monkey having trouble swimming. The next thing you know, they approached it with the boat so the monkey could climb onto it. A puppy was choking on a piece of sausage and had trouble breathing. It would have certainly been a goner if it wasn't for this kind gentleman who removed the sausage and massaged the dog's heart in order to save it. This dog couldn't get out of a pit full of garbage, but then rescue workers came in and helped him get out. What a touching scene. After this baby deer was released from this gate, it wasted no time in returning to its worried mom. This tangled up deer was very concerned about being trapped, but didn't seem too keen on being rescued either.
Look at that.
Workers released this unfortunate dog from the metal bowl stuck on her head. She was much happier and lighter when she returned to her puppies. When a jackdaw stole this kestrel chick, its human guardian angel not only rescued it, but installed some security. It's never great when you get a tire stuck around your neck, especially when you've got as much neck as this. Even snakes need to quench their thirst, and with a tongue that long, this guy didn't even need to fill it up to the brim. This trapped fawn was released by Wildlife Aid and was so overjoyed to be reunited with her mom that they both leapt for joy. The fiercest animals sometimes need help from humans too, like this poor mountain lion.
Gonna name him Frederick. Be free.
We'll be awarding 5 stars to this Uber driver after he pulled over to stop these ducklings from crossing the road. One of the hazards of being a pigeon is getting your beak stuck in things, like this poor little guy. The wool on this sheep was so overgrown that they sheared 23 pounds worth of it. If you ever doubt how much a human can love a dog, then watch this man rush into a burning house to save his best friend. Cats Cats have a habit of getting their heads stuck in things, but luckily, humans are often there to help. After being rescued from a fence, this koala almost seems to be offering this lady a thank you hug. Inside 2 bags and underneath a pile of mud, this man found an unlikely feline surprise. This is the kind of thing that happens when Yogi Bear has a few drinks and forgets where he lives. These piglets were rescued from a burning house by the fire service, making it the one time you really wouldn't want to smell bacon cooking. These gentle saviors came to the rescue of these kittens when they found themselves trapped under a grate. When this stray cat came to the door asking for help for her kittens, this kind person just couldn't turn her away. Hedgehogs are used to dealing with spikes, but that doesn't mean they want to be stuck inside a wire fence. Even spiders lose their mobility when they get old, so this kind human decided to make his spider's favorite spot more handicap accessible. This baby deer was found stuck in a hole after crying out in pain, but thanks to compassionate humans, he was soon trotting off to find his mom. This goat's about to learn a lesson about annoying animals bigger than yourself.
Yeah, way to go, Norman. You got him, buddy.
When a pit bull wants the dock all to himself, he doesn't care how many sea lions he has to take down. Blink and you'll miss it, but these ducks just saved their babies from a hungry hawk. You're swimming in the wrong lake, mother ducker. Proof that elephants are trolls. This one just wanted to boop the buffalo on the head. Never mess with a donkey. These guys are stone cold. When Fido got a little feisty, this horse decided to put him in his place. Don't worry, the dog was fine. This polar bear saw a tasty husky treat and wasn't prepared for a face full of teeth. This wasp is about to feel the full force of the swarm! An amazing moment as a dolphin allows a human to remove a fishing hook and line from its fin. These 3 guys know where to go when they need some quality food and drink. This furry little lady doesn't know whether to be shocked or overjoyed by the rescue of her baby. No duckling left behind. If you don't think dogs have feelings, then look at the gratitude in this one's eyes as this boat pulls up to rescue him. When this dog was saved from freezing by this RSPCA inspector, he couldn't wait to get away from the ice and into a warm towel.
Good boy. You silly Billy, you don't go for a run.
This dog's puppies were buried under the rubble of a collapsed house, and she was so desperate to see them again that she helped the rescuers dig. This poor dog was far too scared to be grateful, but he was okay in the end. Not all heroes wear capes. Sometimes they wear construction clothes and help thirsty squirrels. This lady shows a practiced hand as she helps the swan back into the water. After helping this beached turtle, its rescuers were overjoyed to see it finally join its family. This man put himself at risk to save this poor dog trapped in the middle of a busy road. Look how excited this little guy is to finally be back in the sea. These selfless police officers stripped off their clothes and jumped into a freezing reservoir to save this poor dog. When the snow gets this deep, you have no idea which frightened animals might be trapped underneath. This poor bird was trapped by its beak, but was rescued by the effort and kindness of its fellow creatures. After this hawk was hit by a car, the local fire service took him to the veterinary hospital the quickest way they knew how. A traffic constable saw a monkey in a desperate need for some water, so he did the only thing he could and gave the poor animal water directly from the bottle. This poor dog was about to be mauled by a bunch of alligators when this guy thought of a unique solution to get him out, and it involved a jacket. Now that's what you call quick thinking. This dog couldn't get out of a pit full of garbage and wastewater, but thankfully, some people noticed it just in time to rescue the poor thing. A python coiled itself around a dog, and there wasn't a single thing the poor pup could do about it, but luckily, these kids were around to save the dog with their bare hands. This dog got its head stuck in a plastic jar, and the people around it couldn't save the dog because it was too afraid to let them anywhere near it. So they captured the dog with a net, which finally allowed them to remove the plastic jar. Just watch this heartwarming moment when a mother sloth got reunited with its baby, and it's all thanks to the rescue workers who managed to find the baby after it had fallen from a tree. This man had captured a wild cat, but it was all for the right reasons. He had to do it in order to free the animal that got trapped, and capturing it was the only way for him to do so. A squirrel fell into a pool and just couldn't for the life of it get out, but thankfully, this man was around, and after a while, he finally managed to get the squirrel out.
Walk away, let it rest.
This dog just couldn't get out of the water. Luckily, there was a man nearby who rescued the poor animal with the help of his friend. Not one, but 11 horses were trapped in the icy water. Thankfully, they were rescued by these people who knew exactly what needed to be done in order to save the horses. These goats were in a rush to get somewhere, and when one of them fell unconscious, this guy right here gave it CPR and saved its life. This guy spotted a cat with a bad case of mange. Poor cat almost looked like a stone, but the guy took her in, fed her, and then rescue workers gave the cat proper treatment and managed to find her a new home. A sea lion somehow ended up with a tire around its neck, and it took quite a bit of effort from this kind man in order for the sea lion to finally break free. Here we have a couple of donkeys that are left to freeze outside. Hopefully the man filming the video found them a shelter. This poor zebra is trying its best to get up, but it just can't, and the guy in the video tries to help out the exhausted animal by pouring some water on it. This sea turtle got parasites stuck on its head. That must have been really hard for the animal. Thankfully, this guy found it and carefully removed the parasites, saving the sea turtle's life in the process. This poor dog somehow got stuck in the curtains, and it was panicking pretty badly when an officer arrived just in time to set him free. Now here's an unusual sight if there ever was one, a man giving a thirsty cobra some water directly from the bottle. That's just fascinating. The girl was doing a TikTok dance, but then her dog fell into a pool and she immediately jumped to the rescue. This dog fell off a cliff and he couldn't move, but thankfully a rescue team found it just in time to save it. This man stopped the traffic just to allow Mama Duck and a group of her ducklings to cross the busy street. A donkey was stranded in the middle of the road. He couldn't move and was bleeding when the rescuers finally came in, picked up the donkey, and put him into the vehicle in order to give him the necessary treatment. A rat had fallen into what seemed to be an abandoned well, and this guy jumped inside to save it. He had a little bit of trouble catching the rat, but eventually he did, and the rat was back to safety. An injured seagull came to this guy's window, and he immediately gave it something to eat. The seagull was then seen flying away in order to feed the babies as well. And here we have drivers stopping their cars to allow the duck family to pass through. Some guys found a dog in front of their hostel. Poor dog was seriously dehydrated and hungry, so these kind people gave it water and biscuits. The recent flood in Pakistan has devastated the country, and this cat would have certainly lost its life if it wasn't for this rescue worker. A hawk was in desperate need of water, so these guys gave it to him. What a beautiful sight that is. This frog was captured by a bird by its head and just wouldn't let go. Poor bird certainly would have been a goner if it wasn't for this kind fellow who got the frog out of the bird's head. This dog fell into Lake Michigan, but the police officer quickly rushed to the scene and saved the dog. This fox was really hungry, so it approached these fishermen hoping for some fish, and of course, it got some. Snakes might not be the cutest animals in this video, but they're still just as helpless when they get caught in a fishing net. It took several dedicated and very cold people 8 hours to rescue these orcas trapped in the ice. Being a fireman isn't all about putting out fires. Sometimes you have to save incredibly cute French bulldogs. If it wasn't for this everyday hero, this poor deer would have eventually drowned. Birds seem to make a habit of getting their beaks stuck in things, but if a woodpecker gets its beak stuck in wood, then it might want to consider a career change. This horse wasn't capable of saying thank you, but its gratitude is obvious. When two humans join forces to save one dog, it's a beautiful sight to behold. Why did the cow cross the road? Because this kind old man helped them, that's why. Sometimes sea turtles need a helping hand, and sometimes they need two. This dog fell from a 100-foot cliff, but after being rescued, made a miraculous full recovery. When a boa constrictor tried to squeeze this stray cat to death, these compassionate villagers wasted no time in fighting it off. Even when you have the scary title of bird of prey, you still sometimes need a bit of compassion. Have you ever seen a butterfly being rescued by a measuring type? No? Us either. During a hurricane, it's often animals that suffer the most, and that's why we need people like this in the world. This calf found itself trapped in a hole, and just look at the heartwarming moment when it was reunited with his mother. A baby deer fell into a cold lake in Northern California, but luckily some people on a boat were around, and they helped the poor baby get out of the water. An adorable baby owl had fallen from its hollow. Thankfully, this couple were kind enough to get it back up. With the help of a picnic table and a long tree branch, they managed to bring the cute little owl back home. These workers had to use a machine in order to help a bear that was stuck under a concrete pit. The firefighters had to use a helicopter to save a horse. What an amazing rescue mission! And this is how a small kid helps out a thirsty dog. This squirrel came by a man's house and he offered it a snack. The squirrel was a little hesitant at first, and then it happily accepted the snack right out of the man's hand. Chito, a Costa Rican fisherman, found an injured crocodile 20 years ago. He nursed the croc back to health, and the two have been best friends ever since. When this guy found injured ducklings, he took them home, nursed them back to health, and eventually reunited the whole family. This woman discovered a mistreated dog who was terrified of human contact. With patience and love, the dog eventually learned to trust again. Stuck in a drain pipe for 4 days, this kitty refused to climb out. With the help of a snake cam and a gentle snare, they were finally able to pull him out and back into safety. This bird followed a lady and her dog before landing on her arm and shrieking for help. The poor fledgling looked dehydrated, and after giving it a fresh drink and a cool shower, it was a brand new bird. When construction workers discovered a black-tailed deer stuck deep in the mud, out came the excavator to dig him out. This poor pooch had been abused and left out in the snow. Terrified and cold, it took a lot of tender love and care to rehabilitate him.
You is happier now, huh? Yeah. See?
Hanging on for dear life on the edge of a dock, this exhausted kitten got a helping hand from a friendly stranger. This Canadian logging crew went to rescue a moose that had fallen through the ice into the freezing waters below.
There we go. Other way, girl. Hold her that way. Oh, Jordan. There we go.
When a man found a goose that had been frozen stiff by sub-zero temperatures, he figured out the fastest way to defrost her was with a hairdryer. Stuck on a ledge above a canal, this kitty was convinced he'd used 8 of his 9 lives already. Luckily, his owner was there to save the day.
Now what are you gonna do, Millie?
When this man found a baby monkey and returned it to its mother, you can tell the poor mom was a little confused, but grateful nonetheless. This man found a dog discarded inside a plastic bag just minutes from passing away. With some fresh air, water, food, and TLC, she made a full recovery. This raccoon got his head stuck in a storm drain. Luckily, some friendly firefighters were on hand to set him free. When a juvenile alligator dragged this man's puppy into the lake, he jumped straight in to pull the jaws off his favorite pet. When a family discovered a baby deer struggling on a semi-frozen river, one man decides to give it a helping hand.
Oh, slider this way.
Hey.
Woo! Careful.
Sorry.
Baby, it's okay. Oh, look at her go.
This puppy had fallen through thin ice and was struggling in the freezing water. In comes his rescuer, a man who is apparently immune to the cold.
Dad.
Давай, давай, иди сюда, иди.
Полиции позвоню, что и можем отчитаться.
Давай, иди сюда.
This bird obviously wanted some water. The hints were all there. Finally, they poured him a drink, and once he'd had his fill, he was off. When this dog fell into a backyard pool, but instead of the owners rushing to its rescue, it was another dog. When an elephant calf became stuck in a feeding trough, her parents couldn't pull her out. In came the humans to rescue her and send her back to the herd. If you've enjoyed these compassionate clips and would like to show us some kindness, then don't forget to subscribe.